Hey guys, Ron here, and over the past few years you've seen me create Pokemon from things I saw on walks, regional forums, evolutions, missing links, and more. But now it's time to create a Pokemon based on the most important thing, me, Ron Swore. That's why today we're going to analyze the things that make me who I am, find some kind of animal that fits all of the criteria, and attach some kind of concept while designing this Pokemon. Let's do this thing. So first things first, yeah, Sceptile is my favorite Pokemon, and I do relate to him a whole lot. If there was a Pokemon that would be associated with, it would be this guy. But we're gonna make sure to not literally make a Sceptile. So while we may end up with a reptile, let's rule out geckos, so I don't just make a clone of Sceptile. Second, people associate me with art. I'm not gonna blame them, but let's not make a Smeargle. When we may make a Pokemon that creates art, we're gonna try to make sure we don't end up with a Pokemon that paints with its tail and has a barrette. And lastly, who cares about whether or not this Pokemon is competitively viable? I barely know anything about competitive Pokemon, so I think it would make sense that the Pokemon we create is amazing in casual play, but not the best option in the current meta. After all, the most important thing that matters about a Pokemon is its design, lore, and origin. And what better origin than me? So let's look inside of me. Let's look into what makes me who I am. As you know, I love the color green. My love for the color can make me tear up. I love the balance of it. It's not too extreme. It's most versatile of all the colors. It can have a warm tone, it can have a cool tone, but it's never completely warm or cold like blue or red. I suppose purple is similar and therefore my second favorite color. In fact, magenta isn't even on the light spectrum at all. I become fond of magenta as well. So I'm gonna make sure my final Pokemon is a cool green with a hint of magenta. But regardless, all color is basically just light your brain processes. And something you've noticed if you've watched a video in which I turned myself into a gym leader is that I am obsessed with light. I have tons of different LED lights in my room, my disposition depends on its time of day, and I love watching the sunset. I am infatuated with light and love going on walks at different times of day while listening to music. So let's make sure the Pokemon we make is also in love with light, colors, and the sun. Perhaps a Pokemon that basks in the daylight, probably cold-blooded. Everybody probably wants my Pokemon to have something to do with art. I mean, I'm more than just my skills. I am a person, specifically a person named Ron. But hey, I'll give you what you want. My Pokemon will have art skills. I specifically have a degree in computer animation. I love animation in general and music. So perhaps my Pokemon is a psychic type that can use its powers to manipulate or animate others, but not with malice, obviously. I'm a big fan of fiction. I like most franchises that revolve around fictional elements. I mean, the main reason I love Pokemon is for the Pokemon themselves and the world they inhabit. So I think I want to give my Pokemon some fantasy elements, maybe part wizard. I'm a person that is constantly seeking perspectives, not to adopt different ideas, but at the very least to understand all the many experiences and opinions that people have. My number one philosophy in life is balance, meaning that I try not to take things to the extreme and to understand multiple facets before forming ideas. Balance isn't about centrism or false equivalency though. After all, a balanced meal isn't equal parts of every ingredient. Adding 10% of some kind of perspective to whatever perspective you can have equals balance. So my Pokemon will be constantly seeking different perspectives and perhaps achieve enlightenment once involved. A big part of my life is my social anxiety disorder. After years of being a YouTuber, reading hundreds of comments about me or my work every single day, and mostly interacting with people online, I have developed crippling social anxiety. So let's make my Pokemon socially anxious and lonely too. So obviously my Pokemon is probably going to be a reptile based on my criteria. I mean, a meerkat ain't bad either. They do like the sun and looking at things, but we want our Pokemon to be green. And I'm not keen on anything that isn't green. True green pro tip. Fireflies ain't bad since it emits light, but we already made a Firefly Pokemon a year ago after my trip to California with other Poketubers like pokeaimMD. Great guy, great guy. But I think I found the perfect animal to fit all those criteria and naturally add on all the other traits I wanted. The painted turtle. It's very colorful, lives in the US, and loves the sun. I mean, all it does is bask in the sun. This little dude going back into its shell is definitely a good social anxiety reference. And then we can definitely turn this painted turtle into a painting turtle. So here's the concept. I want to make a cute little turtle that basks in the sun, has paint patterns, is a bit anxious, but still happy, loves the sun, and has green moss on its shell and is constantly seeking different perspectives. It'll evolve into a enlightened psychic type that has paint all over it, emits light and color through its staff / paintbrush, has a full moss beard and cape, and has finally achieved a higher perspective. Let's go! So we're basically going in trying to make a turtle who is looking up to the sun. He's gonna have a big head like most tiny Pokemon and a moss shell. His eyes are large and cute, but I didn't want to give him googly eyes, so I gave him those horizontal squinting eyes because this little guy is satisfied. The underside of the shell was tough to visualize. It'll go through many changes. We basically have rough proportions, so let's start with the patterns. The whole process would be a struggle to make it look striped without having too many stripes, which is rare in Pokemon. You always want to make sure it's not over detailed. Another problem I had is at this point was that it looks like it's a normal turtle. Nothing too fantastical yet. I gave it a bigger smile to make it look more animated and some moss on the head to look like hair, but I think coloring it will help elevate the design. After all, its colors are a big part of its concept. At first, the colors were very bright and warm. I even chose my favorite shade of green for the moss, but it looks too saturated and even too realistic. So I opened up its moss and gave it a cooler tone. I like this color scheme a lot, but it's still just a turtle with moss. So I finally decided that the moss should overtake its face, almost like a mask. The evolved form will have a full-on hood like a mage or wizard. Just adjusting things, and the final version will be a tiny bit different, but let's first move on to the evolution. I'm basically sketching a powerful upright turtle with painted armor-like undershell and a leaf hood, almost like a mage unleashing their magic, but I gotta say, this ain't it. It's a bit too humanoid and uncanny, also a huge leap from its pre-evolution, so let's make a Pokemon with the same concepts but completely different vibe. Let's first draw the standing turtle and then add all the leaf motifs. It's holding a stick that it grew up using its powers, and we'll have it paint on its shell. A grass beard, cape, and hair. I think at this point I was done with the hood concept. It just never looked right without making it too similar to the Decidueye, another one of my favorite Pokemon. I gave it a crown of leaves, but that was short-lived. I made the belly part of its shell look a bit like bark, but toned it down so it doesn't look too unnatural. Gave it some berries, correct stripes, and colored it in. I'll introduce some magenta now that it's a Psychic-type Pokemon. While the pre-evolution is how I think I am, this evolved form is how I want to be or how people portray me when they idolize me, as some kind of wizard. And here they are. Our turtle evolved into Sworturtle, starting at level 30 when leveled up during the sunset. Our turtle loves bathing in the sun all day. It tries to find the highest spots and look up at the clouds. Their eyesight slowly degrades as their mind's eye slowly opens. They love seeing things from different perspectives. They will sometimes spend hours looking at a particular view and then spend another few hours looking at the same view from a different angle and lighting situation. The moss in their body grows thicker every day. They smear berries on themselves to create patterns. They love colors and try to portray the various views they've seen through their berry art. When finally enlightened during a particularly eventful sunset, they will evolve into Sworturtle, the perspective Pokemon. This Pokemon has gained psychic powers and can channel it through its stick, which they also use as a paintbrush. They are fantastic artists who can emit light and color. They are able to create paint clones imbued with their energy in order to see from multiple perspectives and gather information. It uses the berries that grow on its beard and cape as paint. They wander around to gain knowledge, share their art, and learn about different perspectives. Here's their shinies. It has the abilities Harvest and Shell Armor, with the hidden ability Grass Pelt. As you can see, it has great defenses on account of its shell, decent physical attack with its stick, and a good deal of special attack as you'd expect of a strong Psychic-type Pokemon. I really believe this Pokemon represents me very well.
Joey, what are you doing in my house? Get out! What the hell is he... What the hell is this Pokemon? Joey, did you make this? This is pretty good. For an April Fool's video, at least. I wonder what Joey, aka pokeaimMD, made on his channel for April Fools.